In August 2011, Faith Jackson, a senior at Charles Flowers High School in Springdale, was sworn in as the student member of the Prince George's County School Board. She served a one-year term representing the school system's 123,000 students with partial voting rights. During a recent Board of Education meeting, Jackson reflected on her time in office, calling the experience, quote, enlightening, eye-opening, and disheartening. In a speech, she was critical of her colleagues, who she says have sought to mute the voice of the youth.
As well. My goal here tonight is not to insult or antagonize my colleagues, because at the end of the day, it is not about them. It is about the children. The children who are and will continue to be greatly impacted by our actions or lack thereof. Ultimately, on this 20th day of June, in the year of our Lord 2012, I would like to conclude by urging my soon-to-be former colleagues on the Prince George's County Board of Education to search within themselves to find the reason why they sit on the board, realize their duties to the hundreds of thousands of people we serve, and to take the politics out of education and put the student voice back in. Thank you, and God bless.
Jackson will be succeeded on the school board by student Shabnam Ahmed, a rising senior from Bowie High School. The 17-year-old will attend Harvard University in the fall and plans to major in economics. And Faith Jackson joins us now to talk more about those remarks, her experience, and her message to all stakeholders about the future of education in Prince George's County.
And welcome, Faith, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
You graduated. You're heading off to college to Harvard. Why did you do this? Why are you not concerned that maybe you are burning some bridges in the process?
I'm definitely aware of the fact that I'm burning bridges, and one of the reasons I really did this is because I'm one of the few people who've gotten that perspective, who's in the position to burn bridges like that, because I am going off to college in a couple of months, and a lot of people are either employees, they're students who are still in the system that could be punished if they were to speak out like this. And I just really wanted to emphasize that me as an outgoing student, I have nothing to gain by burning all of these bridges and losing all of these people, but to just see that the county that I grew up in progress, and also the school system that I was in my entire life progress.
Now, this speech was during a meeting, and it's on the county school's website, but part of it, you say, quote, PGCPS will not advance from second from the bottom until my colleagues will remove the politics or remove themselves. What is your message to all stakeholders about the future of county schools? What has you so concerned?
I'm concerned at the fact that we have this Board of Education that's kind of ruining our rep, and the reason I say that is because I graduated from the schools and I'm going off to college, and so are many of my classmates. So we can't blame the system, we can't blame the teachers. I think that we have to really start blaming the people in charge, and those are the people on the Board of Education. And they're kind of in denial. They either think that we're not at second from the bottom, or they think that it's not their fault that we're at second from the bottom. And I really need them to realize that we can progress, but we need you to either start acting right or remove yourself. So that's kind of what my message was.
Along with the student school board member who's incoming, Edward Burrows, who is under 20, we have two people that are possibly going to be on the board. That could be about 30% of the school board being under 20 years old, a significant change for the school board, and yet you're concerned that they're trying to mute the voice of the youth. So what do you mean by that?
I mean that I'm concerned with the fact that they find this to be a bad thing. These students have come through our system, and it must say that we're worried about what they're going to say about what we're doing for us to say that we don't want them to be on the school board. These are the people we want to hear from, and I think that it's obvious based on the fact that they acted illegally to mute the voice of the youth, and to kind of make it so that the student member doesn't have the role that's guaranteed to them or to me or to the next student member by legislation. And it's kind of sad to see that they rather focus on muting the voice than actually taking care of business and listening to the people who are the most invested in this system.
You talked also during your speech about illegal moves by your colleagues on the school board that you felt were stripping the voting rights and limiting the participation of the student member. Can you talk about that?
Well, my colleagues, they decided that they no longer wanted the student member to attend executive sessions that state law allows the student member to attend. And instead of voting based on the law that suggests that there are 3 areas that the student member can be kicked out for, they just said a blanket rule of the student member is not allowed. And it's mainly because of who is going to take over, who happens to be a person who's related to the candidate that's running against our board chair. And it also has to do with the fact that they realize that as students, we're making sense and we're not going to let them act illegally and illogically. And it's kind of sad that they wanted to act that way by voting me out. And on top of that, doing it in a private session when that's clearly illegal based on the Open Meetings Act. And so they just acted so many ways, and it was really sad.
We're out of time, but just briefly, the board is the one tasked with putting in the new superintendent and deputy superintendent. Yes. What are your concerns about that?
My concerns is that I feel like the board may not be focused on it as much as they should be, seeing as how it's an election year. And I think that the move can turn into something political. And so I just hope that they find the reason why they're here and decide to put someone in that should be there.
All right, Faith Jackson, thank you so much for joining us. And CTV News did reach out to school officials for a response, but they had no comment.